So I've interviewed for jobs before. I've never interviewed for a coordinator job, though, or a head coaching job. You'll be shocked to know. Um, so how do you get ready for one of those?
I think it's kind of a ongoing process. You're always taking notes. You're always trying to figure out all the different things that you've done throughout your career, the things that you've seen other people do, and you're just kind of trying to get all those notes together and decide kind of how you want to run a program. And from that standpoint, it's really just about organizing your thoughts, being able to sit down and know you never know what they're going to ask you, and just understand you got to be yourself, and you got to speak from the heart, and really, that's about it. I mean, it's really one of those things when you're talking to people, it's not as much X's and O's as people would think. It's more just about kind of the person that you are, how you would lead the team, how you would handle the team. And it's been a great experience here because how we do it here is how I want to do it. And so it's kind of been a on-the-job training since I got here with Matt.
Mark Daniels.
Hello, Nathaniel.
Hi.
How you doing?
Very good.
Matt mentioned something interesting yesterday. You've run all of 18 snaps with Bakhtiari on the field. You got Myers back. You may have Cobb, and he says we might have to go kind of the early season and back burner stuff to kind of compile a list of plays moving forward. Can you just kind of talk about that process about trying to, get a plan together with the band back together, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it kind of first starts off with the people that we have in the game. And you want to see what people are looking at with all these people that we have in the game, just to kind of get a feel for what we were running, what we were doing. Because as you guys know, with the changes that we've had throughout the year, we've had to adjust. And we've had to do different things for certain reasons. So we want to make sure that we have a good beat on the things that we did, with all these guys in there. And then be able to have counters off of it, different things. And now you've got these guys all coming back and, some other things potentially show up for you. So it's exciting to be able to have those opportunities and those things and mix it up more and just try to keep everybody on their toes, both who's going to be out there and the things we potentially can do with them out there.
Mike Clemens.
They don't hire coaches like the week before the combine. They do it at the worst possible time when you're in the playoffs. How do you keep this from being a distraction?
We're very lucky here right now because we don't have an opponent. So being in this situation is really a blessing. I mean, you have the opportunity to kind of look ahead and get a feel for the teams we might play. We have 4 people that potentially could be our opponent. So you want to try to get a beat on them and kind of do a little bit because you don't want to do too much because you don't know what's going to happen. But just kind of get a fresh look on those guys. And then the rest of the time, I mean, we have a chance to go home, see our families, and then once the kids go to bed, have the ability to kind of review notes, like I had said before, and get ready to be able to talk with some different people.
Wes.
Hey, Nathaniel, you got me?
Hey, Wes, I do.
Awesome. Hey, I wanted to go back to the Jacksonville days with Mercedes, if I can, for a second. When you came on board in 2015, how much did you know about him at that point? And were there any interactions you had with him early on that kind of told you, what kind of guy he is and exactly the player you're going to be dealing with there?
I mean, going to Jacksonville, Mercedes was a legend already. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick from UCLA. I had known him from his time at UCLA. I was actually coaching at Stanford when I first started, and he was the tight end there versus Alex Smith, who was the Stanford tight end at the time. So they had some great battles. And funny enough, my brother-in-law, he played with Mercedes at UCLA. He was the slot receiver. So Mercedes and I have known each other for a while. Getting there and talking with him and kind of, talking about Andrew and stuff like that really made it great and kind of gave us a connection right out from the very beginning. And then, once you get to know the guy, I mean, he's amazing. And we had some great times there at Jacksonville. And it's kind of funny how everything works that you're at Jacksonville with him and then he ends up going to Green Bay and then I end up coming to Green Bay and our pass to UCLA. I mean, it's amazing how everything works. And I'm lucky to have such a great relationship with him.
Daniel, really quickly, who is your brother-in-law? Who was that?
Andrew Baumgartner. Yes, Andrew Baumgartner. He was a slot receiver that year. They were really good. One of his claim to fames is there's a Sports Illustrated picture when Andrew catches a seam route for a touchdown. It was when I think Oklahoma was number 1, and that was the year UCLA ranked up high, and Mercedes is picking him up over his head. So we have that up in our house, and my kids love it. The Mercedes is one of their favorite players, and a lot of it's because he picked up Uncle Andrew.
Kyle Malzahn.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey,
I
Kyle.
guess you've been here in Green Bay for 3 years now. I'm curious as to what you have learned the most about yourself as a coach during your time in Green Bay.
I'll tell you, this has been such a great opportunity for me. Being able to come here with Coach LaFleur has been unbelievable. I mean, you go through a lot of time as a coordinator being thrown into it, creating systems, and then being able to come here and learn, Matt's system and be able to combine those two systems has been something huge for me as a person. And then at the same time, watch a first-time head coach and be able to be in there with him, watch the things that he goes through, and being able to have that relationship with Matt has taught me so much about his position. And even adding on it more is having such a young staff and be able to help all these guys when we first got together to learn how to teach, to learn how to explain the system, and just kind of bring everybody together. So I think it's just been such a great experience to be able to take a little bit of a seat back, be able to look at the big picture of everything, both watching Matt as the head coach and then being able to assist Matt in all the offensive play calls and everything and how he meshes everything together. I mean, it's just been an amazing experience. It really has. And I think the final thing is the culture. I mean, the culture that he's brought here, it's one of those things like, I mean, this is how it should be. The way we have it, the way our relationships with the players, the trust that we all have in each other, the trust we have in Aaron, that Aaron has in us, with Devontae, Mercedes, just all the guys. I mean, it's such an amazing thing. I think it's a product that everybody can see out on the field, and they can feel that trust and that caring and that love that we all have for each other, and that's why one of the reasons why we've been so successful. So it's been a very, very much a growing process and a learning process here these past 3 years, and I love it. Don't want it to end.
Rob Domofsky.
Nathaniel, obviously you guys are all excited to have Dave back, and understandably so. But I'm wondering, how did he play in those 27 snaps? And how do you make sure you keep continuity with that group up front with, some of the moving parts?
Yeah, I'll tell you, he did a really good job. I think it was, it was kind of worth the wait, the way we looked at it. He came in there and did everything. I mean, just even watching Aaron and him give a high five that first, we were laughing because the whole year Aaron's done such a great job at getting the ball out early. I mean, he's one of the best in the league. I mean, it's been like 2.5 seconds or something like that. In the very first play, he's back there for about 7 seconds because Bach's back in, making him work, just, test it all out. But no, it was great to have him out there. I think, the stuff that you talk about, the continuity, I think that line group, and it starts in that meeting room with Coach Stenovich and Coach Buckus. They're so tight, all of them together, and I think they do a great job continually mixing people in. We've talked about this all year. In our system, the system that we have and how we've created it there's a lot of things that are interchangeable. So it allows people to be thrown in there all the time. And I think that almost we've created change as that normality. And the guys are comfortable when people go in there or people have to play a left guard or a right guard. It's nobody's upset or freaking out. It's just, hey, it's business as usual. Everybody knows that. Everybody understands the calls and how we're going to do it. So I think that's kind of the way we've approached it. So when people are going in and out, that's normal. And so that's a good thing.
Steve McGargy.
Well, you got to go through the interview process a little bit last year. What was the biggest thing you learned from the experience of last year that you were able to carry over to the interviewing process this year?
Yeah, I would say last year, I think it was all, in the beginning, was a little bit of a shock and a blur. You're trying to throw everything together that you've ever thought of in 3 days to get ready for this meeting that you're so excited for. I think now to be able to have all that preparation work that I had done for Atlanta to now kind of reevaluate everything, have the nuts and bolts of it, the foundation of it done, and being able to tweak it and feel more comfortable in what you're saying and what you believe in. I think that's kind of the main point that I took from that is being just so straightforward on what your beliefs are and believing in them, and show that to those owners. And always when you get the first one out, there's always some jitters and some things that are going through your head and you don't know if you're saying the right thing. It's kind of like the first time you do media, the first time you get up in front of you guys. There's always that, a little bit of nervousness. And then as you get to know everybody, as you're in front of them, it becomes more natural, more comfortable. So I think it's really just been about making that a comfortable process and more natural.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Nathaniel, how are you?
Very good, Jason. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, if I may, can I follow up on something you said earlier about
Yeah.
how much before I ask my actual question? talking about working for Matt, I'm just wondering, did you have other opportunities? Because it sounds to me like you feel like this choice was a pretty definitive career changer for you, especially after, and this will be my word, not yours, you got scapegoated in Jacksonville.
I believe as the process was going on, there were some other things that were coming up. I think after meeting with Matt, we definitely felt like we had a connection, and Matt pulled the trigger pretty quick. And I think that created, that decision process to be made a little bit faster for me and my wife and my family. And when we looked at all the, wonderful things that could happen being with a brand new staff, a guy like Matt, a place like Green Bay, the best place in the world for football, the epitome, the epicenter of football. And to be able to work with Aaron and Devontae and Mercedes, who I had known, and Alan Lazard and all these guys, that I think that was something that we just, as we started looking at everything, we wanted to do what was best for the future and for the family. And that's why we made that decision. And it's been a pretty darn good decision here. And the amount of knowledge that I've learned is been great.
So, and then not to be Debbie Downer, because I know you guys love to have, quote unquote, the good problem to have, but are there challenges to reintegrating guys, whether it's on your side of the ball or on defense, that have been out a while? Because I know you're thrilled to get all these guys back, but are there challenges that go with it as well?
Of course. Yes. I think the biggest one is just football condition. I mean, we can all go on our Pelotons. We can all go out and run. We can all go in the weight room. We can all try to simulate football. But there is nothing like the game of football. And there's nothing like the game of football on Sunday during those games. And I think we all have to understand that is you can train as long as you want, but there's nothing like getting in football shape, going out there and actually playing the game of football and having to react to the man in front of you that's trying to compete against you. So I think that within that process of getting people ready, it's about getting them ready for that conditioning, that different level of speed that you just, you really just can't simulate. So I think there's always those things that you're going to be thinking about, but we have to do our best to get them ready.
We have time for two more. Tom Silverstein.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey, Tom.
How are you?
Good.
Good. You've been asked a lot about Alan Lazard this year, and so, but I was curious about the touchdown he had where he sort of lined up as a tight end and cut across and got covered by a linebacker, and was wondering if that's happened before. I don't recall it, where you were able to isolate him like that. And is that something that you've been trying to do, or it just worked out perfectly for that?
Yeah, that's a funny play. That's a funny play because since we've been here for we just finished our third regular season. We've tried to do that a lot, and that has been something that we've always talked to with Aaron about doing. And it worked out not exactly how we had anticipated it would. And most of the time those plays, they don't. And that's why it's great to have players that can learn just how to go out there and play football and understand the picture can change. And that was just a great job of Alan being able to beat the linebacker and Aaron being able to identify that there was a linebacker on him and throwing it up to him. But it's definitely something we've tried numerous times. I mean, we were all going crazy because we had finally gotten that play, something that we've been wanting and trying to set up as much as possible. So it was really fun to see that work out.
Matt Schneidman.
Hey, Nathaniel, when you interview with the Broncos, do you trash Luke so you have a better chance of getting the job than he does?
Oh, no, I am so excited for Luke. I mean, Luke is my brother. I mean, that is a guy that, I've known him for quite a while because of his relationship with Alex Van Pelt. And when that happened for him, I mean, I was so excited. I went right into him. I want him to be a head coach in this league at some point. I don't care when that is. I'll be so happy for him one way or the other. We've been talking back and forth. Somebody gave us an idea of potentially we were going to do the interview together and do the Step Brothers routine. We didn't know if we wanted to do that, but no, I'm so happy for him. I mean, he deserves this opportunity for his name to get out there because he's a great coach, and he's been here for a long time, and he's coached wide receivers. He's been with Devontae for a long time, and I love the guy. I mean, I absolutely love it. I'm so happy for him.